Hey everybody, Sunday, September 21st, out in the garage today. Got the New Hampshire NASCAR race on the TV. It's a little warm today, a little humid, but not too bad. It looks like we might get some rain. Definitely not a John Kerry day here in northern Nevada. Okay, let's chat for a little moment about the season. As you all, any of you people that follow racing or anything like that know that this is what they coined as the silly season. And basically, professional drivers are changing rides, changing sponsors, everything's changing around in preparation for next year. It's not necessarily what I would call silly, but also on a short track local type thing, it's also the time of year that people are already thinking about next year. People that are going to be building new cars, or getting out of it, or moving up classes, something like that. There's a lot of race stuff for sale right now, at least around here. And the one thing that you'll find, any of you guys that are interested in racing or want to get into it like that and looking for equipment, now is the time of year to buy it. Because people are, letting it go. And right now, with as much stuff out there as there is for sale, stuff is going for pretty cheap prices. So you can actually save some money now, and if you want to pick up something for yourself, or if you just want, a kind of fun winter project, hey, pick up an old race car that's a little beat up or a little battered or whatever like that, fix it up, clean it up, make it look real pretty. And come along March, April, that car will be worth a lot more money, because that's when people are wanting stuff. They're looking to buy. And after, with your local seasons and stuff like that, you get 2-3 weeks into it. People have been in the stands, they get excited about it, they want to get into it. They're looking for cars. So with that being said, we're still, we're constantly scouring around what's for sale and what people are asking for it and what we could do with it and so forth. So this week has been a very, very good week for us. We've done a couple things. We actually purchased a mini stock Mustang. It's an 87, I believe it's what it started out as. It's an 87 Mustang notchback with a 2.3 liter with a 4-speed in it, locked rear. Very, very well built car. It's got a good cage in it. It's got some pretty good features in it. Of course, it's essentially ready to go. Fuel cell, belts, gauges, everything's in the car. But this car has been, it's been raced, it's been used. So there's not a straight panel on the car. It is beat to death from one end to the other. It just the sheet metal on the thing is ugly as all get out. So when you run into situations like that, where you have a car that's, you drive up, you go, geez, man, that thing's been around. Look at them. Get in there, look underneath the sheet metal. What do you get? What do you got? What does it have? What are they asking for it versus what it would cost you to buy the, performance stuff that the car has? Things like that. Does it run good? Does stuff like that. Transmission works good. So, sometimes for $200 to $400, $500, you can pick up a basically race-ready race car. It just might be a little ugly, and that's exactly what we got in the Mustang. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. And we have an interesting plan for the Mustang, possibly too. We'll get into that. The other thing that we ran across is we've done a little horse trading. We have another car that we picked up that we did not purchase. We actually traded. We made a deal. We traded one of our parts car SVXs, the red one, and the 77 Chevy C10 that was in the backyard. We traded those two vehicles for a, I want to say race ready. It still does need some stuff, but it's all minor stuff. And a lot of it is just my personal preference. I got to change some stuff on it. It's just I want it different. Anyways, but it's a Toyota, and it's what we call here. It's a mini modified. or they call them Pro 4s in some places, or Superstock 4s, or there's a bunch of names for them. But we'll take a look at the car, and you can see what it is in your area. This class is a little different than like the Mustang would run in. The Mustang runs as a mini stock. Our Monte Carlo chassis, the red one, that is a hobby stock. So we actually have 3 different classes of cars here on the property. The Mini Modified is a very cool piece. I actually like that a lot. When I stumbled across that, I just fell in love with it. It's like, man, that would be cool. And it just turns out that as far as all the racetracks locally around us within a reasonable driving distance, the modified minis run at the closest track, the next closest track, and the third closest track. So in that respect, it actually works kind of well. They're very, very local. So, and we're also at this point, we have this one here now, and we'll take a look at this in a minute, but we also have another one that we're looking at, and it's another Mini Modified, but that one is an actual Ford powered car. It's based on a Mustang. So any further, let's take a look at this new edition. Okay, and here you have it. It's a it started its life, and I'm not sure, 100% sure as what, but it's an early 80s Toyota Celica. It's a 22R with a 5-speed transmission behind it. It still uses the Toyota front strut towers and all the Toyota rear suspension. The only other parts of the car that are still Toyota are the firewall and the floor. Everything else is gone from the original car. And the chassis is all inside. It's a tube and square and just, you know, basic sheet metal panels kind of thing. These cars are, the rules are very open around here as far as like body work and stuff like that, and there's 2 different ways that guys do these cars. They either do them like this, which is kind of a cross between an IMCA modified and a late model. It's, you know, the modified being open wheel in the front. With these here, they're closed wheel in the front, but the rest of the car, like for instance these panels, these side panels are new on this car. They've just been banged into one time back there on that one, but all the rest of them are new. And these are off-the-shelf panels for an IMCA modified. So there's kind of a homologation here of, you know, home-built stuff, and it's a lot of it is whatever you want you can have. So this the chassis of this car is very, very straight. I can't see where it's had any major issues. Like I say, pretty much all the sheet metal on the sides anyways is all new. It does have some remnants of a number on the top. I did buy this from a local racer. Well, didn't, you know, traded with a local racer. The car is originally from somewhere in California. That's where this car came from. Seems like all these race cars have originated in California. The chassis is very, very well built. A lot of the other stuff with the car, to my preference, is not finished off as well as I would like to see, so we'll be changing a few things on that. I thought at first maybe we'd just get this car and, like I say, we'll just do a few things and then we'll turn around and sell it, but the more I look it over, the more I like it, so probably won't leave. But yeah, it does have it's got a large fuel cell in it. I say everything, all the panels are just basic sheet metal, so yeah, it's water. I actually just washed the outside of it. It's been sitting outside for a while. It's kind of funky. So it's got a good sized fuel cell. The body, batteries up in the front. And as you can, I don't know how well the camera is picking up in the dark, but you can start to see some of the structure of the way the car is built. Like I say, There's parts of the Toyota floor. They're still there in the firewall, and all the rest of it is basic tube. On the driver's side, you can see everything goes right out to the sheet metal on the outside. On the right side of the car, see it's in. You have a hollow there. It's just sheet metal. That's one of the things we're going to have to work on that's not really finished. This type of stuff here is kind of hokey, and you know, panels need to be attached a little better. None of them are finished. They need to be all done. One of the things they've done kind of neat, of course, it's got the rubber stock car nose, and they've actually grafted into the fender. This is rubber here as well. So that's kind of a neat way to do it, rather than, you know, having the sheet metal up there that always gets bent in. So it needs a little paint here and there, you know, paint it up and do. One of the major things that I'm going to change on this, and just I find hideous, is the way that they did the sail panels here on the roof. They've got them bowing out, which is currently the way that the IMCA bodywork is done. The idea is this almost acts like a little scoop, and it puts air in the back on the thing. But you know, with a 4-cylinder car, you know, your straightaway speeds, you don't reach a high enough speed that any of this aerodynamics really comes into play. So this is just kind of hokey, and to be honest with you, this whole deal right here, you know, on both sides, I think it's just kind of dumb looking. So we'll retain the rear spoiler here. We'll take off these little splitters they've got on here. We'll take off the sail panel, and we'll put a slant back sail panel. The sail panel will come back at an angle all the way back here to this corner and tie in with that. And it'll all be one piece. You won't have this here, and it won't be bowed out like that either. It'll be a flat panel coming down. So we'll do that on both sides. It's real easy to make, and it'll make the car look tremendously better. The car actually fits me real well. The seat, I'm going to take the seat out. The seat is too big. I get in there and I slop around way too much from side to side. It's for a lot bigger fella. But like I say, the pedals, and if you can see down there, the pedals, I'm going to have to move forward probably a minimum 6 inches. they're just not positioned well for me. The seat location's pretty much set. You can't move the seat too much. So I'll get one of my other seats and I'll put it in here, and we'll see where we're at. But probably about 6 inches is what we'll have to move the pedals. Like I say, I still got some more cleaning up to do, but that shouldn't be too bad a deal. Hydraulic clutch, and the brake master cylinder is actually in here under this panel, along with the MSD unit. Being a Toyota, it had an igniter for the ignition, so you can do away with all that, and you can use an aftermarket igniter. Like I say, it's a 22R. As you can see, these cars are very lightweight. All the panels, there's not much to them. Personally, in my opinion, it doesn't have enough radiator in it. I don't know if I really care for that. We may want to acquire a larger radiator and put in. And I don't like the fan, the manual fan. We'll take that off. We'll put an electric fan on it. It's got a 350 Holley carburetor on it. The head, I've got receipts and everything. The head has just been all reworked on this car. So that's done, and that's actually fresh. It hasn't really been used much since then. Got a really bitchin' header on it. I just love that header. It runs really good. It's loud enough to piss off the neighbors, so that's good. The other thing that I did notice with that, the clutch actually doesn't work that well. So we're going to have to take a look at that. And I don't think, the other thing that they did not do on this car, I don't know how well it's picking up down in there. there's no scatter shield or anything for the bell housing. So I don't know, at 7,000, 7,500 RPM with these little motors, if you've ever seen a clutch come apart or a flywheel come off the back or something like that, you want that shield on there because parts can go through there and saw your feet off and stuff. So we'll have to do that. So all this, I mean, there's kind of a list of stuff that I found that I think the car needs, but overall it's really minor stuff, very easy to do. This would be a actual fun for me. This is all the fun stuff. The hard work of the car has been done. It's all here. I don't really have to get a lot, and I just need to make it the way that I want to make it, and that's kind of cool. I mean, stuff like the driver's compartment, the cockpit there has got to be sealed off, and it's a fire thing. You have to seal that off really well from all the rest of the car, and you can't leave stuff like this. This is just, see what I mean? All these openings and everything like that. You have an engine fire, it's all going in there to where you are. And I'm here to tell you, it's not too bad getting into it, but getting out of it takes a minute. So you need to give yourself all the time you can as far as safety and whatnot. So anyways, that's this one. I'm thinking in this class here, last night we actually did go and watch some races at the local track here, and I think they ran 8 cars in the class, so it's a decent class. And I've talked with several people. I think next year there may be actually 2 or 3 more, not counting this one. Now, the other car, the hobby stock, the red car, that class there was down a little bit last night. So right now with car counts and competition stuff like that, I'm almost thinking this class here, which I'm excited about the car anyways, but this class here may be a better way to go at first, and we'll continue to work on our other car and get that ready once we get this one set to go. So that's what we're thinking at the moment, but you know me, everything can change in a heartbeat. It all depends what I find next week. So at this point we have a pure stock car, we have a mini modified, we have a hobby stock car. About the only thing we don't have yet is an IMCA modified. And I gotta tell you, there's 2 or 3 out there for sale that have caught my eye, but I don't know, enough is enough. We just don't have room for everything here. So now the other car is that little guy right there. Like I said, it's a Mustang. She's been rode hard, but it does mechanically it's real good. Drives good, runs good, stops. The only thing is, it's just ugly. Like I say, this car has been beaten, banged, and banged again. So one of the things that they're going to do next season here at our local track is they're going to run 3 enduros. And what an enduro is basically you take any basic car, put some safety equipment in it, and you go out and run. And it's usually a set number of laps. They may be 200 lap event, something like that. And you just get a lot of people in there that they're not racers. A lot of them never done it before, and they're just out there having a good time going around. And it's kind of like a last man standing, winner take all type thing, So this car right here, I think would be perfect for, and here's the kicker, a young lady that I have here that has expressed interest in driving a race car several times in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I think that may be a good place for Camera Girl to make her racing debut is in that car right there in an enduro race. And if she likes it and goes farther than that, we'll either rework this car and put her into the pure stock class, or if we find this other modified, she can run in the mini modifieds as well. So that's kind of the idea with that. Fun stuff. I just love this. I say change a few things and we'll be where we're at. And a lot of stuff like Guys, when you build race cars, especially guys with fuel injection, this is not, and I repeat, this is not the way to plumb a fuel system with rubber hose. You just don't do that. You get the good braided stuff, or you run hard pipe lines with a braid on either end to connect all your stuff. And this also, I'll show you another thing. Don't mean to preach, but just you get looking at enough of this equipment and you see so much stuff that's just not cool. And like, see here, there's the actual electric fuel pump. They got it mounted down there. It's just rubber line all the way. I hate that. I can tell you, I hate that. You just don't know. Return line is rubber. Actually, I don't even know what that one is. Oh, that's it. They got the cable running along it. There's no return line. That's right, it's carburetor. Here's the other thing, guys. You're gonna do a race car, run a race car. You don't do that. Put a gel battery in it, not a lead acid battery. You go upside down on one of these cars, and I'm here to tell you from personal experience, everything in that battery comes out of it. It'll run out all over the place. And depending where you are, it's on you. It's in there destroying everything in the car. Buy a gel battery. You know what? Yeah, they're more expensive, but you take care of them. They last a long time. They're very deep cycle. Because like this car does not run an alternator or anything on it. There's nothing. There's no accessories out there. So, a charged battery is what you got. But make it a gel battery. Do it safe. And once again, see up here, the corner, it's all rubber hose. I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of rubber hose, so I think we'll put some steel fuel line in there, and we'll have a flex soft connector on either end to connect that. Just stuff like that. I just got to tidy it up, make it safe. I mean, look at the gaps and stuff like there. We got to close all this stuff up, and it'll be good. But yeah, as we were talking about here, there's no accessories whatsoever on the front of this. This one does still run a manual fan, which also is not a good idea either. As you can see, take this off, bolt it solid, put an electric fan on there, and be done with it. You do have to run, in these Toyotas, you do have to run a thermostat. I've always found these things don't start to make anywhere near the power that they're capable of until they get at least 180 degrees. So, anyways, that's what we're up to. And like I say, we're got the race on TV, kind of half watching that as we mess around out here. I think that's about it for what's going on out here today. We may go to the salvage yard here in a little bit and look around. One of the things that you're required on these cars, if it's running a electric fuel pump, you're required to put an inertia switch in the power circuit for the pump. So, you take it and you run the thing in the wall, you knock the front of the car off and the fuel line ruptures or whatever. Without an inertia switch, basically the pump will continue to run as long as there's power to it, and it'll continue pumping fuel. So you knock the front of the car off and hot stuff, and you're pumping fuel, and that could be a bad deal. Where an inertia switch, once it senses a impact, it'll shut the pump off. So we have to go pick up something like that. But I don't know if we'll do that today or not. But anyways, that's about it from here. Can't think of anything else. I throw this up for you guys, give you something to watch. Videos have been a little bit light lately, so we'll try to do our part to bump them up a little bit. But yeah, that's about it. So I guess tonight, also Sunday, you guys that seem to have forgotten, is the Mumble. So come on in there, check it out. And I guess until we do something else interesting, we'll catch you later. Take it easy.